I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 132. Just a reminder before we start that you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, YouTube, and Vero at Rated G for Gamers. You can always email us at info@ratedgforgamers.com. And please rate and review us on iTunes. That helps us out immensely. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino. This is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster, formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man?
I'm just gonna get right into it. I'm gonna get right into the pickups because I had a good day yesterday.
You've been on fire lately, man. Usually I'm the one that has a lot of pickups.
I know, man. I would be jealous of your pickups. How do you have 30 games that you got for like such a good price? And you're like, I don't know. I just kind of come across them. And, I was kind of up early yesterday. Plans kind of changed for me. And I was like, you know what? It's nice outside, kind of. Today's a good day to go hunting. And I found a place in Williamsburg, which if you're not from the tri-state area, Williamsburg is pretty close to where I am, but a little difficult to get to. So you kind of have to make it a point to go to Williamsburg. It's a little bit north, a little bit out of the way. Got to take some odd trains to get there. And somebody had a post saying they had some PS1, PlayStation, and PlayStation 1 games. And I was like, I don't know. By the time I get up there, they may be out. They may not have many more. And I was kind of going back and forth. It was basically, I was going to go between two different places. One was a guaranteed antique shop that I know has games. And the other one was this garage sale. I went to the garage sale. They had everything still in a bag, a nice like Trader Joe's bag. And, we were kind of talking. I'm like, can you do $10 for this bundle of stuff? And she said, yeah. So I was very happy.
Nice. So wait, so what exactly did you pick up?
Well, I picked up a Generation 2, the second PlayStation 1 without the AV outs on the back, but it still had the link cable thing on the side, right? So that was good. Yeah. Cleaned that up nice. That was in kind of good condition. You can see all this on the Instagram, by the way. I posted up some decent pictures. 3 PlayStation 1 controllers.
Nice.
There was the regular non DualShock one with the standard shoulder buttons, right? There was I think an Interact PS1 controller, which had like a turbo switch on the back, which was kind of nice, and a DualShock controller, a DualShock 1 controller, which was nice. Tomb Raider, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, Cool Borders 2001, GTA 2, and Spec Ops Combat Assault, all for $10, which I thought was pretty good.
Nice. Okay.
And then on top of that, the icing on the cake, I managed to get a couple of Wii U sealed games, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash and Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, for a decent price around the way. So I'm feeling pretty good. I bumped up my Wii U collection from like 8 to 10. I now have 10 Wii U titles, and I feel like I have most of the good ones.
I think I have like 87 Wii U titles.
That is not surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have Just Dance for the Wii U? That's the question.
I keep getting it every year. Every year I keep getting Just Dance.
There you go.
And We Sing and whatever it's called. I keep getting them.
Mm-hmm.
Stop making them so I can have the last game ever produced for the damn system.
Stop making them for the Wii U specifically, so Dan can have the last game and hedge his bets, and hopefully someday it'll be worth as much as like Jillian Jacob Zumba or whatever that weird Wii game is. That's a lot of money.
Well, they're gonna keep making this for the Wii and the Wii U until like 2025,
right? I mean, they already have all the programming and the whatever. They just have to put new songs out and make new dance routines.
And people are still gonna buy them.
Of course, because everyone has a Wii. Everyone and their grandma has a Wii, literally.
Listen, man, all those grandmas need their Just Dance 2022.
Right. So, I mean, I know you may be a little bit light in the pickups this week, but have you picked up anything good?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Shadow of the Tomb Raider for PS4.
Oh, very nice.
It's my only pickup today. I mean, this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna jump into it. You know, as we always try to start the show, but epically fail. I've been playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider for the PS4.
Surprise. Yeah. And
that and I actually beat Spider-Man.
Oh, lovely. Spider-Man does whatever a Dan Robinson can.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Now, I will say I do have one gripe with Spider-Man. I'll get into how I like Shadow of the Tomb Raider in a minute, but I do have one gripe with Spider-Man.
What? Wait a minute. We haven't done this in a while. Would this be a gamer grief?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, not a gamer grief. I have one gripe.
Okay. If and not to go ahead and cut you off, but we used to do a segment called Gamer Griefs, where we would kind of call out either, developers or publishers or resellers or whatever. Just anytime we had kind of a gripe or a problem with a game or a gaming trend or some sort of news story.
Now that you mention it, this is a gamer grief.
It is a gamer grief. I'm bringing it back. See, there we go. Tell us. Lay it down. Lay it down. What are you upset with? Call them out.
There is no third avenue in the game. There's no third avenue. I can't go to my job in the game because there's no third avenue.
You know what? I'm with you on that. I hate when they do that. I understand why. They had to go and truncate the city slightly, right? Because
there is no one-to-one comparison with the city. And they even said it that some buildings are taller in certain spots of the city just because, web slinging makes it easier to web sling. So they made certain buildings a little bit taller.
Sure. Yeah. They had a couple stories and whatnot, which kind of makes sense from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah. They put a lot more fire escapes around the city. Just, as the thing. I mean, I was walking to lunch the other day and I was like, we have lots of fire escapes. I'm looking up. I'm like, there are a bunch of fire escapes everywhere. On the old school buildings, right? The old school brick buildings, a bunch of fire escapes everywhere. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can't go to my job. I went to my job when we played The Division. I can't go to my job in Spider-Man because Third Avenue doesn't exist. I was like, wait, did I miss something?
So okay. So you've been through the entire game. They render the financial district. Is that in the game? Can you get down to like Battery Park and all that? FiDi?
You can, but I haven't tried to look for your job. I haven't really been that far down.
Okay. I'm curious.
But they hit all the certain landmarks in Midtown. Like they have World Trade Center. They have the Empire State Building. And, they have Times Square and all that good stuff. They have Central Park. They don't have the Time Warner Building. On the Columbus Circle.
Really? Do they have the circle?
It's the Fisk. Yes, they do have the circle, but it's like the Fisk building.
Oh, Fisk, well, that makes sense. That makes sense, right? Because they have to wedge in, or no, not wedge in, but they have to make the world, Spider-Man New York, right? It has to have J. Jonah Jameson and the Daily Bugle and all that stuff. That all has to be in there. So that makes sense.
It does. I mean, I like that, and I get that. Mm-hmm. But not to have Third Avenue at all.
How does that go? Do they have a Third Avenue that's just not our Third Avenue?
I didn't see a Third Avenue at all. I went from Lexington to Second.
Oh, interesting. Huh? Yeah, right.
I was like, wait, where's Third Avenue? This like some side corner, And then they also they were on Beyond. Mm-hmm. They did sort of a spoiler class on IGN's PlayStation podcast Beyond, and he sort of said, they obviously had to scale the buildings a little bit higher in certain areas, so traversing, web slinging could be easier, and they put a lot more alleys in the city.
Right,
but we don't really have a lot of alleys.
No, anytime you watch any show about New York, especially like cop shows, and like some guy's running from the cops and he goes down an alley, that alley does not exist. I know of 2 alleys in New York City, and there is not a chain link fence at all down these alleys either. Right? They always hop over the fence, and then the cop can't get them because the cop can't climb over. No. That doesn't happen. That doesn't
exist.
Does not have those.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Well, no. Okay, let's be fair. We used to have those once upon a time when we were younger.
Sure, back in like the 50s or 40s. Sure.
No, not that far back. But we at some point we had those, and that's sort of been cleaned up because they kept building in Manhattan. Yeah. So those alleys sort of disappeared. But we do have some alleys. We're not alley-less.
No.
We have some alleys.
It's very kind of, yeah.
It's few and far between. And one of the reasons is they keep building, right? Like you see a big alley, that is now a restaurant. They built something over that alley. So it's no longer an alley.
I know.
So, so New York no longer, that was my gamer grief. I can't go to my job because Third Avenue just doesn't exist. At least sort of in the like in the 50s and 40s, Third Avenue doesn't exist. I don't know if it exists somewhere else. I don't know if it exists in Harlem. I don't know if it exists downtown, but it doesn't exist midtown. Right. So that's my I was really disappointed. I was like, wait, am I missing something? Interesting. Yeah. But I beat the main storyline, beat the game, and I got to say, this is what a AAA Spider-Man experience should be. Mm-hmm. That boss battle wasn't hard by any stretch of the means, but was I felt like I was watching a feature-length movie, like the cutscenes. Like it was so dramatic and suspenseful, and what's gonna happen, right? You could tell Marvel had a hand in this movie. I mean, movie. I just said it, movie. Marvel had a hand in this game, especially towards the end, just from a story perspective.
Okay. I do like this new, more mature Dan Robinson who doesn't spoil things for people, because the game just came out like a week ago, right? Not everybody has even bought the game yet.
Do that. I would never do that.
It's fine. I'm giving you a compliment. I'm giving you a compliment here. You're the new improved Dan Robinson.
You're holding one game over my head that came out like 10 years ago.
One game. Get out of here. You've been quoted. You were on the record saying, you know what? I don't really care. You can spoil anything you want for me. I'm still going to play the game. It's fine.
Yes,
or see the movie or whatever. I'm just saying. So you are quick to just be like, oh, it was really cool when this person did this in this game, and you're like, no, I haven't played it yet.
Listen, I didn't tell you meet Wolverine in the game. Oops. Sorry. That was a joke. That was a joke.
You're killing me right now.
That was a joke.
How awesome would that be, though?
That's a joke. You don't meet Wolverine.
All right. That'd be awesome to see that.
Yeah, no, you meet the Incredible Hulk. It was a joke. I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't know if the Hulk is. Maybe he is the game. I don't know. I didn't get to him. I didn't play every side mission. I didn't platinum the game like some people.
Yeah. Right. Oh, jeez.
But Dave, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Persona 5 still, right? Surprise, because that game is huge.
Never ending. You're going to be
never
playing
ending.
Persona
Well,
5
there's
10 years.
Speaking about new game plus, Persona 5 has a whole nother thing you can go back around again and play. So, who knows if I'm going to even do that. I still got to beat the game first. And still playing Overcooked on the Switch, Overcooked 2, which I'm making some damn good progress. I am very close to the end of the game. I think I have one more area to go, which is like 6 more levels, and then boom, I've gotten to the end of the game, I think. So excited about that, and just playing those 2 right now.
Okay. So I've been, just to finish up, I've been playing Shadow of Tomb Raider. I got a good maybe 2 hours into it so far. I'm slightly past the tutorial. I like it. It's cool. The first one was mostly so much combat, less exploration.
Right.
Wasn't really
the Tomb Raider reboot, I guess, right?
Tomb Raider reboot wasn't really into that so much. The second one, I played, God, I must have played like maybe 5-6 hours of it. Right. A lot of crafting involved. A lot of, it had some exploration, definitely more stealth. And that seems to be the theme. Like the first one looked like it was less stealthy, which was up my alley, but then
you like the running gun.
Yeah, but it was less linear too. So it was sort of like more, you got to find my way.
Sure.
The second one, definitely need to play it stealth. And this one too, but they give you, I don't know, it seems like it's easier to play it semi-stealth on this game because I get a nice knife and I get to choke the guy and stab him. You got to be quick though, because those NPCs, they will just stand there, and unless you move, they will just stand there. You got to move for them to move, which drives me insane. I hate when games do that.
Interesting.
It should just move along like Spider-Man. I played Spider-Man. I was playing stealth. The guards would move, even if I just stayed there. I didn't have to move for the guard to move.
Right.
And I'm like, come on, guy, move. I'm hiding in the grass in the mud, all muddied up, and he's not moving because I'm not moving, and it drove me insane.
Yeah. That's great.
But I'm trying to give it more of a chance. I'm not a big crafter. I don't like crafting things a lot.
It can get a little much, a la like God of War.
Mm-hmm.
Even
though crafting God of War was pretty easy.
I mean,
after a while, it was a little complicated. I know you thought it was a little bit more complicated than it needed to be, but I thought it was.
It didn't need to be in the game at all. I didn't think like it was just kind of extra. Like sometimes it's great in games. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I can craft these things or whatever. It feels natural and warranted, and sometimes it's just like, oh, we're gonna go ahead and put this in there and put it on the back of the box that you can craft. It's like, ugh. So yeah, I mean, does it feel necessary or no?
It kind of it's definitely necessary because it's more of that realistic. Remember the good old days where you just had unlimited arrows? You had a bow and arrow. No, now you have to craft. You have to craft arrows.
You gotta go craft the arrow and then the arrowhead, and you gotta get the string for the bow.
You definitely need to get the twigs so you can craft the arrows. So
right.
It's less about combat. So it's more about exploration, right, and puzzles. So it's like, and it's a little bit less linear too, which I don't like, but whatever. I'm trying to give it the old college try, but it's like Uncharted with quadruple the puzzles. Everywhere I turn around, it's like I have a puzzle to do.
Interesting. Okay.
So in that case, I kind of like it. Right, it takes me away from some of the stealth elements because you know how much I don't like stealth. Even though Spider-Man was pretty stealthy, I had to figure out. I definitely had to figure out how to pick these guys off one by one.
Well,
it was a little bit more fun because you're swinging around and you're on top of everybody instead of being in the trenches, hiding in the grass, and they walk right by you type of thing. So far, I dig it. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it. The goal is to beat it. That is my goal. I would like to beat it and probably work backwards. I probably will beat this because I like this more than I like the first two. And I like the second one more than I like the first one. So maybe I'll beat the second one. I'll go back to the second one because I got 5 hours into it. And then I'll go back and beat the first one maybe. I'll do it, but I'll work it backwards. I will say this. I have no idea what's going on because I never beat the first two.
I see. Right, because this is the end of the trilogy. Correct?
Yes.
Right, so it kind of follows the story arc and whatnot. You kind of have to fill in the gaps. That kind of sucks. Like, I like when games kind of like bring you up to speed with like, here's what happened in like the previous quote unquote episode or whatever. It is not like Wolfenstein. When Wolfenstein
2, they sort of caught you up to speed on what happened in the Wolfenstein 1.
Right.
I have no idea who the bad guys are. I have no idea who her friend is. I have no idea why I'm doing this. I'm just you need
some sort of outside motivation, like why am I in this jungle right now, right? Why am I excavating this mine, this Mayan cave?
I just want to know why do all three? No, well, I don't remember the second one off the top of my head, but the first one and this one, the game just. The first 2 minutes of the game, you're in a plane crash.
Oh, well, there you go.
That is Laura.
They cranked it up to 11 at the beginning. It's a good way to get you in.
That's the epitome of Lara Croft games. The new one, the reboot. You're in a plane crash.
Sure. It's exciting, man.
So, yeah, I like it. Again, I'm trying. I'm going for it. I'm trying. Okay. Give it the good college try.
You're giving it the Dan Robinson 5-minute try. All right.
Listen, so far 2 hours. That's pretty good. Usually I
Right.
tap out after like the first hour.
Uh-huh. Oh, good deal. Well, hopefully things clear up a little bit.
Well, speaking of tapping out,
Mm-hmm.
this was devastating. I gotta say as a side note before we go to break.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill is out as Superman.
What?
Did you hear about
Just-
that?
I have. It is very surprising. He was Superman for a minute, right? 2 movies, 3 movies, I guess.
4 movies.
4 movies.
I think it was 4 movies.
Right. That's insane. So they're shaking up the universe already. He is out. Do we know why?
Well, I know negotiations broke down because he was supposed to. I think he was supposed to appear in the Shazam movie, like towards the end.
Right,
Right.
as like a cameo or whatever. Sure.
Cameo, and negotiations broke down, and then he left. He just left the role,
Right.
and they're going in a different direction. And you know, and there's reports that Batman may be leaving too. Well, that Batman, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck as
No.
Batman.
Batman will always be DC. He's not leaving to join Iron Man and Marvel. Yeah, I heard that Ben Affleck's leaving, and
Well, I heard some news about Ben Affleck, which apparently, and I want to be careful with how I say all this, but apparently Ben Affleck has a bit of a drinking problem, and apparently he kind of relapsed a little bit, I think, and I think they were unable to insure him for the movie, right? It was too much of a risk to have him around. Right, which is why I think Ben Affleck is going to be out, if I'm not mistaken. I may not necessarily have all of the details correct, but that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it, right? It was too much to insure him because he was that much of a risk, which is insane.
well, you know who there's rumors if Ben Affleck if he's out,
Mm-hmm.
there's a rumor that they may get the guy from Mad Men to play Batman.
John Hamm.
He said, "Why not?" He said in an interview, he said, "If they actually play Batman, would you do it?" And he said, "Why not?"
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it right here. You can put the explicit tag on here. That guy is a handsome fuck. All right. He is Batman. He is Bruce Wayne to a T, right?
Yeah, but is he Batman?
That's the thing. He's definitely Bruce Wayne. He's definitely got
George Clooney is handsome. Well, was handsome as fuck, but he wasn't Batman. He was not
true.
Batman.
True.
He
He
was
was definitely not Batman.
He was
So
Bruce
I
Wayne,
think-
but he wasn't Batman.
I think you may be right. He got half the component down. Is he an action star? Specifically, is he Batman? Yeah. That I don't know if I could sign off on. You know.
Can he separate the voice?
Yeah. Right. I'm Batman.
I'm
It's tough, man. Not everybody can do it. You know.
Yeah.
Keaton did it, and Conroy in the animated series did it to a T.
well, we have
Val Kilmer was okay. You know.
Val Kilmer was. He was. Listen, Michael
Okay.
Keaton, right? Hi, I'm Bruce Wayne.
Uh-huh.
I'm Batman.
Right.
No, right?
Mhm.
George Clooney. Hi, I'm Bruce Wayne. Hi, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
I was my mind.
Well, that is not George Clooney's fault.
I went to the
He
movie.
got bad direction.
I went to the movies to see this movie. I remember
I
seeing this
know.
movie in
I know.
98. I was in the movies and I was just like so excited.
Mhm.
It was like watching the prequels. It was like you're so excited because it's Batman.
Oh
Yes.
my god, I know,
And you-
right? It's like
and you-
it's the best franchise. It's the best damn superhero, and then it's like, what is this trash? Why does Robin have nipples on his batsuit? What is this? Why did you get Arnold Schwarzenegger to play the Iceman? Doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, listen, I like Uma, right? She ain't no
Thurman's
poison
alright,
ivy.
yeah.
She ain't no poison ivy.
She's more poison ivy than Arnold Schwarzenegger is Iceman, though.
That is true.
I'll say that. You know?
Oh, come on, Batgirl.
Oh, Alicia Silverstone.
Batgirl. Oh, she's
Who,
hot.
who turns
She's
out to
terrible.
be Alfred's daughter and not Commissioner Gordon's daughter, like in the comics. What is going on in the animated series? What is going on?
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I was in the movies like trying to like pick something out that was actually good. I was like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, this is, back, yeah. Yeah, maybe. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Batman. Okay, all right. That's a new approach. Okay,
All
maybe.
right. All right. Uh
No, it was terrible.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. At least you got all those great Arnold Schwarzenegger one-liner puns, right?
I know. Oh, that's
Come
true.
on. Come on. Nice to see you.
I can't. Come on, Henry. Give me one more. Give me one more. Give me two more Superman movies. Then call it quits. Come on. We just started. We just started the DCU.
Yeah,
They're
well,
gonna
that whole thing is
gonna
a
have-
mess.
But
That
they're gonna
whole
have
thing's a
to.
mess.
They're gonna have to reboot everything. I mean,
I think they should. They had one good movie out of the bunch, and that was Wonder Woman. Like, I'll be straight up honest. There's
look, okay.
one good solid
Justice
movie.
League. Justice League. I thought was okay. I didn't think it was bad.
Okay is not a way to start your franchise. You need to start off with your Iron Man, right? Nobody's gonna start their franchise off with Thor: Dark World. I'm sorry,
They
as
needed
much
to
as I
start-
love that movie.
They started off with Superman. They should have started it off with Batman, rebooting Batman completely. But in fairness, they had to do a Superman movie before they lost the license to do Superman.
Right. They have to make sure that you make a thing within a certain amount of time, and then the license continues. Yeah.
Because the last movie they had was Superman Returns.
Right in 2006. Yeah.
Which wasn't bad. I thought it was pretty good.
I enjoyed it. I mean, it definitely took some liberties with the story a little bit. And the kind of Batman's got a son with Lois Lane, which was weird. Secret son. But I mean, it's the same thing they did with not Superman, Spider-Man. They made the Amazing Spider-Man because they were going to lose the license, and Sony didn't want to lose the license there. So they're like, we're going to put this Amazing Spider-Man out with Andrew Garfield, and it's like, okay.
I thought
And then they made a sequel, and you're like, okay.
I thought Amazing Spider-Man 1 was good, except for the end.
Yeah. It was a little weak.
Except for the end when all the construction cranes turn so he can zip line down.
Oh
he
my
can
god!
web shoot
I
down.
know. It's
I was like,
New York is coming together to help out old Spidey again. It's like, oh god,
that was stupid.
Right.
But I will say this: there were a lot of cranes in Spider-Man the game.
Yeah. There's always
Yeah.
construction going on, so that makes sense. That's definitely New York.
Well, I will say there is one part of the game where they took liberties with the Amazing Spider-Man 1, where there's a bunch of cranes all in a row.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, come on. Oh, okay, it's a video game. Not a movie. Not the movie, no. But I like the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm probably the only one. I liked it. And I like the ending. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers. It was an emotional ending.
Uh-huh.
Rest in peace, Gwen Stacy.
Oh yeah.
All right. Why don't we take a break? And when we come back, we get into the top 10 gaming news last week. And we're back. All right, let's get into the top 10 gaming news of last week. So the first story is just, it's not something that's easy to get into or transition out. So let's just jump in. Dr. Disrespect, big time, Twitch streamer, actually won best streamer or best video game personality at the Video Game Awards last year.
Mm-hmm.
I voted for Danny O'Dwyer. I love the No Clip series.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he was home streaming and somebody shot up his house with his wife and kid inside.
Right.
He abruptly stopped the stream, and I'm sure he wanted to make sure his family was safe, and they got out of there. His wife, I think, tweeted right afterwards that they were safe, nobody was harmed, no one was hurt. He said he will police are investigating the shooting, but he he's doing fine, and he will resume streaming on Monday.
Yeah, that's this is insane. So what I know about Dr. Disrespect is it's this guy, and I don't necessarily know what his real name is, but he kind of plays this persona where he's like this, I'm a kind of scumbag, whatever, and I'm gonna, he wears like a wears like an 80s wig and like a mustache, and he's got these cool dark shades and whatnot, and he like puts on this persona and he streams games, right?
Yes.
Which is, it's funny. It's, it's great. I want to say a couple months ago, maybe almost a year ago, he got into a little bit of hot water. He cheated on his wife and whatever else, and kind of broke down on stream, and it was a whole big thing. And
but that doesn't mean anything.
Well, no, I'm not judging anything. I'm not judging anything about him. I'm not judging anything about him whatsoever. It's just, this is all I know about the guy, right? He's a streamer and whatnot, broke down. I thought he was gone. I'm saying all that to say I didn't realize he was back, and now he's back and whatnot. And somebody goes by his house to shoot his house up for whatever reason. They obviously have a beef or a vendetta or whatever against this guy. That is not what you do, right? It just feels like a coordinated attack against him. Like, it is not that serious, right? However,
we don't know. True, but we don't know. Again, cops are investigating. We don't know. We don't have any real details of the shooting. We don't know if the shooting was sort of game related. Right? Like, there's just a crazy guy out there, or a crazy fan that just didn't like him for whatever reason. Or we don't even know if they were really shooting his house, if they meant to shoot his house. Maybe they thought he was somebody else's house.
Well, right? that's also true too. But I don't know. I mean,
well, it's hard to. I know what you're trying to say, because it's hard to with everything that happened in Jacksonville, right?
Right.
Like, it's hard to. It's another shooting involving, gaming, right? It's insane. And a lot of people, actually, as a side note, a lot of people are not going to TwitchCon this year because they fear, their safety. And TwitchCon is, Twitch is trying to assure everybody that they have extra security there, right? Mm-hmm. There are metal detectors there.
Well, there should always be metal detectors at any convention, unless it's like super small and whatever, and it costs like that much, it'd just be prohibitive to do that. Like, all right, I get that, but something like TwitchCon, Twitch is owned by Amazon. Like, get out of here. Like, that should be the safest place on earth. Right? They have the money.
But, listen, I'm just glad that him, his I think he had his daughter, his child, and his wife.
Yeah, seriously.
Friend are safe, and no one was harmed in the shooting.
Yeah.
So, all right. Again, no easy way to get in or out of that. So let's just transition. Next story. A couple of weeks ago, there was an SNK countdown that led into, I think, earlier this week or last week. And, everyone speculated that it was going to be new IP coming out, or will they port, maybe one of their old games, Neo Geo games, to current gen consoles. And it seems that they've resurrected a franchise, a game that we haven't seen in maybe almost 10 years, the Samurai Showdown. So it looks like this game is going to be called Samurai Spirits.
Which is the original Japanese title of the franchise, right? Samurai Spirits came over here as Samurai Showdown. So that's interesting. We haven't seen a Samurai Showdown game since Samurai Showdown Sen on the 360, I think. So it's been like 10 years.
2008. Yeah, 2008. But it's kind of weird because the last Samurai Showdown we had was that exclusive for the Xbox, but this new game seems to be exclusive for the PS4 coming out in 2019.
Yeah, I'm kind of hype about this. Like, we got a little bit of gameplay during the teaser trailer, but the graphics look good. Looks like all your favorites are going to be back, plus probably some new characters. So, very excited to see what they end up bringing to the table.
But let's get into our lead story. The Nintendo Direct.
This is where it's at.
This was supposed to be. We were so ready to do sort of like a dedicated show to the Direct last week, but it was delayed due to the hurricane and the tsunami that hit Japan, and it just came out last Thursday, and it was chock full of good stuff. I mean, I will say this as a side note on the Direct, like, Nintendo is in a no-win situation. They have so many IP. Like, their catalog is so big. They can't please everyone, right? Like, after every Direct, there's always people that are just, they claim that they're disappointed, right? Because they didn't, maybe you're a Metroid fan, you don't see anything about Metroid, you're disappointed. Like, for those balloon fight fans out there,
right? Balloon Fight fans are never disappointed. Nintendo is always like, "Hey, remember that game Balloon Fight?"
So I've heard people, some RGT85, say this is the greatest Direct ever. right? And then I've heard some smaller YouTubers say they were really disappointed in the direct because it didn't have, we didn't hear anything about Bayonetta, we didn't hear anything about Metroid Prime 4, we didn't hear anything about the mainline Pokemon game.
Right. Like, it's the reason we haven't heard about that stuff is it's not ready for prime time yet, right? And I think this goes back to your point. They shouldn't have shown the Metroid teaser because now everyone's like, when is it happening? When is it happening? Right? It's gonna take time.
But I understood why they did that. I mean, they're coming off the debacle of the Wii U. This is the first E3 since the launch of the Switch, and you want to come out with a bang, right? So, and to be fair, it said in development, right? So it's coming, and in this direct, they started off this direct with a bang. We got Luigi's Mansion. Well, they started out with Luigi in Luigi's Mansion, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna. We already know they're going to talk about the 3DS on this direct because they mentioned it. And the first thing I thought of, all right, well, Luigi's Mansion, the first one being ported to the 3DS, they're going to start off with that. No, it's just Luigi's Mansion 3. It's actually coming, and it's a working title. I'm sure they'll add a subtitle to this, a subname to it. But and they said it's coming out in 2019. So they started off with the bang. Sequel, awesome.
Yeah, a brand new game, not a port, not a remake or a re-release, a brand new game. That's great. So starting off with a bang, right? Brand new Luigi's Mansion. We had Dark Moon on 3DS. We had the original one, which we know was being remade, correct? Or is being remade, I should say.
Well, we're getting a sort of, it's not a remaster because it's coming out on 3DS.
Right.
It's not going to be better graphically. But you can play 2-player co-op. Which if you have the game, we could both play 2-player co-op.
Yeah. We jam on that for sure.
Do you think you might get it? It's coming out October 12th, I think. October 12th.
Luigi Mansion 3D? Yeah, I mean, not necessarily get it right away, but sure, it's definitely a game I like. I'll certainly pick it up at some point.
So they started off with 3DS, get it out the way. We already talked about Luigi's Mansion 3DS. It's, 2-player co-op. We're getting another port. I told you they're gonna keep the 3DS alive with a bunch of ports.
Sure.
I didn't know they would go way back to the Wii and port Kirby's Epic Yarn to the 3DS, but now they're calling it Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. And it's coming out in 2019. So that's coming out for 3DS. So if you're a 3DS fan, I played a little bit of Kirby's Epic Yarn on the Wii. It was okay. I liked it. Everything, Yarn. I like Yoshi's. I like Yoshi's.
Yoshi's Woolly World. Yeah.
I like Yoshi's Woolly World.
They're not okay. They're not bad games by any means. They're just very easy. They're made for a younger audience.
Well, they have new challenges in the game and stuff like that to make it a little bit more harder. Sure. So a little bit more difficult. So, they didn't spend, I will say this to their credit, they didn't give a ton of time to the 3DS.
Right.
So they got it out the way early.
They got in, they got out, right, and they moved on to the meat, right? The 3DS is great. I'm glad they're still putting stuff out for it, but really everybody wants to see, what do you got coming on the Switch? Right?
Yeah. So, but we already know so far they said Metroid Prime 4, 2019, Luigi's Mansion 3, 2019. So far we have things to look forward to next year as well. And mainline Pokemon game. All right. So next year is lining up to be pretty special. But I'm sure with a whole bunch of indie games coming out. And Bayonetta 3. I mean, that should be coming out next year as well.
Right.
We didn't get any Bayonetta 3 in this though. They did talk about Splatoon 2. Now this, I think this was sort of the hidden gem of the direct that no one caught. Splatoon 2 version 4.0. They had on the screen for literally a second and a half. 100 times battle. Now, is this Splatoon Battle Royale? Is Nintendo entering the Battle Royale game with one of their
be every man for himself, right? I mean, look, if the hardware can handle it, then yeah, why not?
I thought it was just like, this is a new version, new stage, new clothes, and I'm sure they look like a new stage.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had new clothes. new gear because everyone loves their Splatoon gear. But literally, when I watched it again, I saw the text, and it's because a lot of the text was sort of like Splatoon language, squid language, right? That you can't really understand. But then they had actual English, and it said 100 times battle, and I'm like, is this a battle royale? Wait, is this a Splatoon battle royale game? Oh boy, like this is going to be bananas. If this
Everyone's jumping into the battle royale game. I mean, come on, everyone's getting into it.
No offense. There are reports out there like Fortnite. Everyone is predicting the demise of Fortnite because their player count's going down a little bit, and a lot of older people aren't playing Fortnite anymore because it seems to be all the kids are playing Fortnite and they're being very vulgar and stuff like that online through voice chat.
Yeah. Oh, it's toxic. It's toxic AF, right?
Yeah, and a lot of the streamers are seeing their viewer counts go down. So, when Dreamcast guy was actually talking about this, where he said Splatoon 2 seems to have like an online player count of more older people. Like older people. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of younger people on there, even though they could be, but they may not be because Nintendo sort of has this quirky voice chat system. You can't a lot of people you can't tell if they're being vulgar or not, right? Because you have to be in a party with a stupid app and use the third party, not third party. You have to use the stupid connection to the phone, to the Switch. It's just weird. So people use Discord and other means of chat, which we will get into later in the direct. But as Fortnite goes down, this could be the rise of Splatoon 2 if they have more of a battle royale type of thing, because that seems to be the trend. Call of Duty, again, they're not having a campaign, but their sort of battle royale system, they had a beta a week or two ago. Their battle royale everyone raved about it. Everyone says their version, I forgot what they call it, but their version everyone seems to be all about it, and they said this may save the game because it doesn't have a campaign to it, which I think they will add one later on. But that's neither here or there. Back to the direct. Something else that caught my eye was Capcom.
Oh my god, I went bananas over this. Bananas.
So, Capcom seems to be putting out a beat 'em ups bundle coming out September 19th. Right. I think this is an eShop only thing.
I don't think there's going to be a physical for it. I wish, I hope, but it's got at least like 5 or 6 classic early to mid 90s 16-bit arcade beat 'em ups, right? And Knights of the Round is fantastic. And an oft-forgotten beat 'em up game. Everyone remembers Final Fight and whatnot, and they're like, yeah, Final Fight. Final Fight is great. Final Fight not in this bundle. They've done Final Fight to death.
No, Final Fight's in the bundle.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yes, Final Fight 1 is in the bundle.
Ah, all right. So Final Fight 1, the only one that came out in the arcade, is in the bundle, which makes it an even better value. Final Fight Arcade is fantastic. Does have the extra stage. You can play as Guy over the Super Nintendo one. Knights of the Round is in this. The Predator game, I think, is in this, right? And a couple other beat 'em ups. This is definitely one to get. I'm assuming it's going to be like 30, maybe $40 for everything.
You know what? I'm not more. I don't really like to buy stuff in the eShop. I like my physical releases, but I will buy this. I will buy this because I have all the Final Fight games, and I love the Final Fight. I love Final Fight. Yeah. And if I can play it on the go with save states,
right,
then that's all. I'm all in. I'm all in for this. And a lot of these games, a lot of those beat 'em ups, like the originals, like if you want to buy the console version, it's too expensive.
Oh,
so this is the way you can actually play the games on the go and own them. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, this next thing, we did our predictions last week.
You got this right.
This is the only prediction that was right out of our predictions. All 6 of our predictions. This is the only one that was right. New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe coming out January 11th. So this is, and it is called Super Mario Brothers U. So they're keeping the U in the name. I love the Deluxe has the two Joy-Cons on each side of the word Deluxe. I will be getting this.
Sure.
It does they made it a point to say for free you're getting Luigi's Mansion. I mean Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's
new Luigi U.
New Luigi's. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting. I told you this system needed to This is the first Super Mario side-scrolling 2D game, so I think this is going to sell well. It's coming out at a good time. I wish this would have came out during the holidays. I think it would sell a lot better if it came out during the holidays, right? Because people are going to go to buy a Switch and they're going to see a Mario game, right? And they're going to, oh, it's a Mario game. Let me buy this Mario game for my kid. So I think they missed the boat on that point. I don't know why. Maybe they just want to put all their focus on Smash Brothers.
Well, I mean, that is the biggest game out of Nintendo's camp coming up,
But I will buy this. They have remix levels. You have two new playable characters. Even though I'm not going to be enticed to play it with any of those, I'm going to want to play this with Mario or Luigi personally. Again, and beat the game again. I haven't beat the game in a long time.
Right.
So I think I'm like the only one that's hyped for this. I'm the only one. I haven't seen anybody really talk about this. I'm the only one that's hyped for this.
Mm-hmm.
I know everyone got new Super Mario Brothers fatigue because we had the four games, right? But I love Mario side scrollers. I'm sorry. I'm gonna buy this again. I brought the Donkey Kong game again. I brought Donkey Kong Country again.
Yeah. Well, they added some new stuff to that and whatnot. You're talking about
they made it
freeze, yeah.
Yeah, but they made it easier.
Well, of course, they have funky mode. Funky mode is easy mode.
It is, but it doesn't make the game easy though. It makes it easier.
It's easier, right?
Yeah,
right.
The game is
still
tough.
not easy enough for Dan Robinson to beat it. There you go. I've said it, folks.
I'm more than halfway through.
Okay.
I just haven't gone back to it. Though. I just haven't gone back to it.
You have to surf your way to victory, my friend.
I will, man. Another game they showed.
Mm-hmm.
Katamari Damacy Reroll coming out.
So good.
Coming out this holiday.
So good. They are. I guess it's more than a port because they're kind of up-resing the graphics and whatnot, so it's not as fuzzy and whatever as the PS2 version was. They're not redoing any of the textures and anything. I think they're just kind of making it a lot cleaner. I'm so happy. Because
big PS2 fan.
I love this game. This game was fantastic, and it was $20 when it came out. It was a surprise hit. Everyone's like, "This game is ridiculous. You have to get it." All right. And I picked it up and loved it. And they haven't really done anything with the franchise for a while, so maybe this is them kind of like, here, remember this awesome game, and now we're gonna make a new one if that does really well. That's the hope, or that's what I'm hoping at least.
Well, I have the first one. I think there was like a sequel called something else.
Well, there was We Love Katamari.
Yes.
Which was the sequel. Then there was Beautiful Katamari, which I think was the one on the Xbox maybe. And then there was a 360 one. There was a PSP one, and yeah, there's like 5 or 6 in the series, I think.
Oh, really? But the original creator of Katamari, I don't think he was involved in the sequels.
No, he kind of tapped out and did some other stuff. He did like Nobi Boy, I think was another one, which you were like a weird like caterpillar snake thing. Yeah, he's kind of gone off and done some other stuff.
Gotcha. Also, they talked about Mario Tennis.
Mm-hmm.
They're still pushing that game, and they're still updating that game. I mean, they said they're going to update that. Another update will come, I think, next year too in June, when they're going to add more characters.
I'm going to have to download it and probably never play it, but.
But they added a bunch of new characters coming out. This is surprising to me. This is why I bring it up, because this is the first time I can remember that we're getting Super Mario 2 characters.
Right.
We're getting Birdo.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting Koopa Paratrooper. Right. We're getting Shy Guy, and we're getting Piranha. Piranha will be a boss battle. He's sort of like a boss battle.
Yeah, it's funny to me because Mario Brothers 2, spoilers, big spoilers, for anyone who hasn't played Mario 2, it was wildly different. And at the end of the game, you realize Mario was having a dream, right? That's why all the characters are different. That's why you fight Wart instead of Bowser at the end, right? He wakes up from a dream. Now they pulled like all of those characters into the Mario franchise and universe and world. So which is it? Is it Fantasy Dreamland, or are these do these characters actually exist? I need to know, Nintendo. I need to
Oh,
know.
listen. It's not the first time. What about those 3DS games with Mario and Luigi dreaming?
Oh, that too. Yeah, Dream
Dream
Team, I
Seeker.
think, right?
Yeah. If anything, I would. Those are more RPGs, but I would think that they would put Birdo in War in those games, right? Because he's dreaming. They're still dreaming.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point.
That'd have been an awesome way to put them back in. Because I like Birdo as a character.
Yeah, Birdo is pretty awesome.
Birdo's pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
then we got into the nitty gritty of what we all thought this direct would be focused on.
Right?
It wasn't focused on this. It was sort of like in the middle, sort of like a
Yeah.
tidbit.
Kind of buried in the middle.
Nintendo Online.
Mm-hmm.
So we already know it was launching September 18th. That was sort of leaked and then confirmed by Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
As you're hearing this, it'll be 2 days after this episode comes out.
yeah.
It
So
is here.
Nintendo Online. I think you're crazy if you don't spend the $20 for the year.
Mhm.
I may, funny enough, it's $20 for a year, $8 for 3 months, and I forgot how much it is monthly. I
Yeah,
didn't
maybe
even look
like
at
$10
that.
or $11 a month or something. I don't know.
No, I don't think it's that much. I think it's
Yeah.
like $5 a month,
Maybe, yeah.
$3.99 or $4.99.
Right.
I was debating if I wanted to do the $7 for 3 months because both my Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus all expire in late January.
Yes. You like to sync everything up accordingly so that the renew date is always the same.
Well, they're not, 1-to-1 the same, but I know in January
They're in the same area. Yeah.
I need to up for the whole year.
January is the re-up time. Sure. I don't even know when my stuff is expired or whatever. So that's actually really smart.
I know I get it out
pretty
the way at the beginning of the year,
Right.
and I get the on Black Friday I sort of get the discounted, I get the discounted cards, right? Prepaid cards.
You just have to make sure that you have money available to re-up on all of those, right?
No, I get on discount on Black Friday. I get the prepaid cards on Amazon.
Oh, and then
or
you
eBay.
use them at that particular point. I
So
see.
it's not $60.
see.
It's I get it for $40.
120 now plus the Nintendo 140 would be the full retail price, right?
Yeah. And I get it one shot, boom, and it's done for the year.
There you go. Pro tips from D Robinson over here.
So I don't, because like you said, you don't remember. I barely remember, but now I know it's always January. Always January.
You know when I do remember when someone says, "Hey, let's play Wipeout online," and then I go and then I realize that my account is overdue and I have to re-up.
Yeah, that happened a few times.
Yeah, more than a few.
So there are five characteristics, the five main things they wanted to talk about when it came to Nintendo Online service.
Mm-hmm.
You've been playing online with friends for free, but now it will be behind a paywall. So now you get to play friends with online. Everyone's all up in a frenzy. I like to remind people, 2009, 2008, whenever PlayStation had their PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Plus service, you can play online free. That was sort of like their niche when they were behind the Xbox. Hey,
That's
Xbox,
right.
you got to pay for Xbox Live to play people online. It's free with us, guys. And then maybe like a year or two later, they put it behind a paywall.
They did. Still annoying though. I mean, it's still annoying.
I know, but it's sort of on par with what everyone else is doing. So don't be mad that they're doing what everyone else is doing.
It is. But the only reason they're doing that is to make this $20 a year worthwhile, right? Because the only
they need the servers for
the
save
only
data.
thing. No, I understand. But the only thing that really entices me in this situation is the online cloud saves, right? Because if you lose your Switch, God forbid that happens or whatever, you lose your Switch, you are
or
effed
breaks.
currently, or it ends up breaking. You are effed currently because everything is saved and locked and tied to the system, right? There's no way to get it back.
I still haven't beaten Breath of the Wild yet.
Ugh.
I don't want to go back and do all that stuff all over again. I have like 100 hours. I haven't
It's
beaten it yet.
understandable. Yeah.
I will jump back into it one day.
Mhm.
One. The next time we get like a snowstorm, I'm gonna jump back into it. But yes, the save data is worth to me. It's worth $20 the year. However, I will say this: there are reports. If you read the fine print, if you go over your limit, like if you go over your subscription, like you always go over your subscription, Xbox Live, your save data will be wiped from the cloud.
Yeah, that's upsetting.
So
That's upsetting. So you're basically like, so you cancel your service, it's gone. They don't keep it as a backup.
Nope. You need to make sure that is downloaded to your their hardware, or it will be gone.
Jeez,
PlayStation
that's a little harsh.
PlayStation gives you, I think, like 6 months to a year after for it still to be there before they erase it. So save data. Classic NES games will be playable every month. I don't know if this is going to be like a Netflix service where they keep pushing games in, pulling them out. I don't know how many games. They showed a lot of NES games,
right?
In the sort of the preview package, the video package.
They showed more than the ones that they initially said, the initial 20, correct?
Yeah.
Well, that means I'm right.
Well,
that means I got one of my predictions right. Because if I'm reading correctly on the show notes here, Nintendo will announce more games as part of their online service.
Well, technically, if you want to go
games,
if you want to go technically, I'm just
saying.
If you want to be technical, they didn't announce it. It was just a video package. They didn't announce anything.
Oh, get the hell out of here! This is an announcement, and it's called the Nintendo Direct. The whole thing is an announcement.
It is an announcement. They didn't announce any new games.
No.
They didn't announce any new games. It was the 20 games. It was the 20 games that they said it would be on there. They didn't announce anything.
There was other ones that were shown in the video. I'm sorry. I'm gonna give myself a half a point on that one to make you stop.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't give it to you.
A half a point?
I can't.
I'm not even asking for a full point here.
I can't do it. I can't. They didn't announce. It was just a video package. You don't know when
the judges here. Get the hell out of here. You would make the same argument on the other end, and I would normally give it to you, but
no.
I'm gonna remember this. That's all I'm gonna say.
You didn't give me the last E3. You didn't give me credit at last E3
because you were wrong.
I had some points in my. I was semi-right. I was a little bit right. In certain
you were
points.
You were like maybe 10% right about it. You got the word the. That's about it.
Well, you know what? They didn't announce anything. They didn't announce anything.
It's fine. I'm just saying. I'm gonna remember this. All
right, remember this. Remember. You know what? Put it. Mark it in the books. Okay.
All right. So
make it official. But I will say this: they did announce wireless classic NES controller Joy-Cons for $59.99.
Yep.
They go along with the classic NES games that you can play on their online service. The wireless classic NES Joy-Cons will only work with the NES games.
Well, they only have the 2 buttons start and select. They don't have the shoulders or anything else. Like this is a wireless Nintendo controller.
They look like the classic NES controllers from the mini, the classic mini, with just the thing so you can slide into your Joy-Con so you can charge. Slide it into your Switch so you can charge. And you can only buy these if you're an online member. So you need to be a member to even purchase these.
That's so weird. Well, I guess that's the only way to use them, right? You can't just can you download Mario Brothers right now in the eShop on its own? Because I assume all these Nintendo games are just on the online service, right?
They're just on the online service.
Yeah. So there'd be no reason to get them other than to have them as presentation pieces, because you can't use them with any game currently.
Yeah, and again, like you can't use them with any game currently, and you can only buy them if you have the online service, which kind of makes sense. Nintendo, when they had Nintendo Power, there were certain things you can only buy if you had a Nintendo Power and you wrote in and you. What was it? What were they like? They had like certain things that you could only buy if you were subscribed to Nintendo Power. Like T-shirts and gear and games.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they had some like hats and whatever and this and that. Sure. Yeah. There wasn't any particular game that was. Sometimes you get like free games just for signing up for a year. Or you get like a free.
Demos. Demos the game.
Demos. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this goes hand in hand with that. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, and it's one per person too. So you can one order per account.
Yep.
So that stops the scalping. I know they want to stop.
Yeah,
the
right.
scalping.
You can't buy more than one because who needs more than one? It comes with 2 Joy-Cons. That's enough to play any Nintendo game with somebody.
Fourth, smartphone app to use voice chat with certain games. That's not going anywhere. And by all accounts, this seems to be sort of a Nintendo Japan thing. I think the app is something that really goes well over in Japan, and they just want to keep it.
I guess so.
They are not. I mean, Fortnite, you don't need the app, so they can do native voice chat, right? But again, look at we just got to talking about Fortnite and people being vulgar on there, right? They don't want that on their system, so that's why Nintendo doesn't do native voice chat. And fifth, which they were very vague about, is special offers. They said sort of like more to announce in the future. And again, I think it's just like the Nintendo Power thing. When you're a member, you'll get special offers for maybe T-shirts, certain hardware, demos, or maybe discounts too. That kind of makes sense. So that goes hand in hand. But this was a little bit underwhelming for the Nintendo Online service. But you know what? For $20, it's the save states and those NES controllers, having a chance to buy them alone, $20 for the year seems good to me. I'm fine.
The save states and the opportunity to buy a $60 pair of controllers is putting you over the edge. You were an easy man to please, Dan Robinson.
If it was $60 for the service, then I would be like, what? Are you kidding me?
$20 isn't that much. I know there's going to be more coming. But and you know what? I'm saying all this. I'm still gonna get it, but I wish there was more. Yeah,
I wish there was more. Then they continued with games. So this was sort of strategically placed in the middle, so they can start you off with a bang with Luigi's Mansion 3,
right?
Hit you with the online service features, and then get you out with more games.
Right. So
they showed a new RPG being worked by Game Freak. The Town.
All right. Game Freak, for people who don't know, are the creators of the Pokemon series. I believe they're still doing them to this day. This Town game looks awesome. It is very much a Japanese RPG. Working title, Town, which is probably the most generic RPG name I think you could give it over like Warrior Quest. It looks pretty awesome. I don't know about you, Dan, but I am day one buying this game.
I think you do know about me. I am day 250 when it goes in the bargain bin.
250, right? I don't know. I mean, it seems a little like action RPG, a little less turn based. So I don't know. Could be a little bit more up your alley. But
you know what's up my alley?
What's that?
Something that was rumored but now confirmed. Yoshi's Crafted World.
Oh yeah. It definitely had Little Big Planet vibes. No,
it did. Right? And you could flip the stage and play the stuff that's in the background and play the stage backwards.
Right. Everything had like this cardboard aesthetic. It all looked like corrugated and whatnot.
Labo coming soon. I mean, this is made of cardboard, right? This is all cardboard stuff. So yeah.
Oh, they would be dumb not to have a custom Labo integration with it. I really hope they have like a level maker too.
Well, it's called the Crafted World, so I mean, you have to be crafting something.
It is in the name. Yeah, it is in the name. So that definitely does look pretty hype.
Something that may take the Switch to new heights, and I was not my thing, and I think this is something that we can actually talk to maybe Steve, a friend of the show, Steve, about. Tabletop gaming coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's pretty insane.
I mean, again, not my thing.
Right.
I don't see the appeal. That's just me personally. But some of the top, card games are coming to the Switch. So that's
card and like board games. Like like Settlers of Catan is huge. Pandemic is pretty huge. Carcassonne, huge. Like everybody knows and loves Carcassonne, and they're also doing Munchkin. I think those are the 4 that have kind of been announced already. Those are like some of the biggest board games. If you're into board games, even just tangentially, you've probably played some, if not all of these. And it's it's great. sometimes you don't have the space, especially living in New York City where rooms are tiny. Games of Carcassonne can go huge, especially if you have all of the expansions, because they're little like 1x1 tiles. This you can play in the big screen. You can probably play like flat. You just kind of put it down and then use your fingers to move around the board and whatnot. It's a smart move. It's a smart move. Steven's probably super hype about this. Yeah.
Smart move, just not my thing, and I'm happy for everyone to get that.
Sure. Yeah.
When you want to talk about smart move,
It's
when I
just all
saw, we're going to talk about another smart move. When I saw this, I said, Dave is probably doing backflips on his roof. Right now.
I did triple backflips. I almost fell off my roof. I was doing so many backflips.
The amount of Final Fantasy games coming to the Switch in
Oh my
2019 is ridiculous.
Oh my God.
So shall we go through them? They're going to have
Yes.
Final Fantasy 7,
Fantastic.
9, Final
Fantastic.
Fantasy 10,
Fantastic.
Final Fantasy 10-2,
Fantastic.
the remaster of Final Fantasy 12, all
Fantastic.
next year.
Uh-huh. You know what's conspicuously missing from that list?
Oh,
Now,
thank you.
I'm not bad at numbers. I'm not that bad at numbers, right? I noticed there is no Final Fantasy 8.
Or
Right.
11.
Well, 11 is understandable because 11 is the online one, right? And
I
they
don't
shut
know.
down the online servers and all that.
I don't know.
No, I'm
maybe-
just, I'm telling you. I've actually never played Final Fantasy 11 either because it was a paid subscription thing or whatever. Now they have 14, which is their new online one, which is doing real well. I haven't played that one either, but yeah, they wouldn't be able to bring that back, But Final
Why not?
Fantasy 8,
Put it on a disc.
yeah, but then like it's going to be
Well,
real
a card,
boring.
not a disc. Not a disc.
It's going to be real boring because you're going to be the only person playing, right? You need to have an online world with hundreds and thousands of people, right?
Well,
Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Put it on a cart, make it an online game. Like, Call of Duty's an online game.
Well, and you need to have servers to run all it. Like it's just a logistical nightmare. Like you can't just take it offline in the way that you're expecting. I mean, it would be great if they could somehow make it work, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But eight is a standalone single player game, right? And 8 universally panned. I think there are some people out there who are like, "Oh, 8 is great. 8 is whatever." 8 was just real weird. It got real like super futuristic. You were riding around. You had a car. I know 15 has a car too, but still, it was like real weird. The combat mechanics were odd. Yeah, and they did do a port on Steam. You can get it in the PlayStation Store. Like they do have this game. Like they could have ported 8. They decided not to because probably would have sold the least out of all of these. So I just kind of found that funny.
I knew you were going to jump back and do backflips over this.
Yeah, man, I'm going to be getting most, if not all of these, even though I own them like 7 times over. Is going to be fantastic. And I can play them on the go. I can play them on the subway. So I guarantee you I will be beating all of these. Yeah, for sure.
And the worst kept secret, Smash Brothers sort of bundle, right? I mean, we knew there was a Smash Brothers
That makes sense.
bundle that was going to be, and I think it was in Japan or in the UK. They no announcement for the US, but we're getting it in the US, so it's going to be sort of like a Smash Brothers dock with the special Joy-Cons. And we already know about the Pro Controller, the Smash Brothers Pro Controller. So I don't think the Joy-Cons of Pro Controller really look that cool because it's just like the little slash symbol, right? That it's not like it has like actual characters on them, like the actual dock has.
Right.
So this bundle doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
You're not going to spend another $300+ on a whole nother bundle.
No, actually, no, I'm not.
I mean, I would be hard pressed to do that even for a franchise I liked. Not to say I don't like Smash or whatnot, but like I'm talking like if they made like a
Final
Metroid,
Fantasy bundle.
yeah, or like a Final Fantasy bundle or whatnot, I'd have to think long and hard about buying a whole nother kit. That's a lot.
No, you would have to talk yourself out of buying a whole nother kit.
Maybe I don't know. I do love my Final Fantasy.
You do.
It'd be tough.
And then the end of the direct, we got Animal Crossing. So it was tricked because it was a little tricky because they tricked everybody. They sort of had Animal Crossing. Isabella, I think, was introduced in a new Leaf, right? That was like the last game in the series.
Yep.
And everyone was like, oh my god, a new Animal Crossing game. And then it was like, no, Isabella's gonna be in a Smash. And it was like, oh, okay.
Which is crazy. Still no Waluigi, but they're like, we're gonna bring Isabelle. Isabelle. So they have the villager. They now have Isabelle. This is crazy.
And then they announced at the end that, oh yeah, this is gonna be Welcome to Animal Crossing 2019.
So they got something cooking. Which is good.
Now, if you were in Japan
Mm-hmm.
and had to direct, they showed you two things that were different than the U.S. version, the U.S. direct.
Mm-hmm.
One, the NES controllers or Famicom controllers, which look cool.
Right. Have a different color scheme and all that.
Different color scheme. Yeah. And something that was major, something huge, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is coming to the Switch, streaming only, in Japan only.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just like they did Resident Evil 7, Ubisoft will be streaming. You can stream Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
This is insane, and it's pretty ingenious, right? Because we all know the Switch is less powerful than the Xbox, even the original Xbox One and the PS4, right?
Yes.
I mean,
the Switch is the equivalent of the 360 and PS3.
Right. Maybe even like a little bit better than that. But yeah, I mean, it has essentially that like horsepower. So they always have to do like, they have to jump through hoops and do all this like technical gymnastics to make the games work on the system, right? We got Doom, we got Wolfenstein, we got a couple other games that were like, wow, like you're going to put this on the system, right? It took them a while, came out well after the fact, right? If you can set up servers and whatever else, and all you have to download is a small little client, boot it up through that, and you can basically play the game with like PS4 visuals and whatnot, just streaming all the information in. Like, that's great. And people have said that like Resident Evil like had almost no lag. Like it was great. And by all accounts, this is going to be the same, right? It's going to have very, very little lag, if any. So, that's like the thing people are kind of worried about. Like when I press the jump button, is he going to jump right away or is it going to take a second, But I mean, it seems to be really good, the service they have set up. So, I wish we could just have a native Assassin's Creed Odyssey to play on the go, but I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
I could take an Assassin's Creed Odyssey, less visual graphics on my Switch. I would play it.
Sure. For sure.
Yeah, but it's gonna have that download thing at the top, at the top of the artwork to say, you gotta have a certain amount of space, just like all the Bethesda games do.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That kind of sucks.
Not taking up a hell of a ton of space.
You know what? I've been holding out, but I think I'm gonna buy Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch today.
Hey, there it is. You heard it here, folks.
I'm probably gonna buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a good mood.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's move on from the direct. Let's move on. Another news story. Something that was not in the direct, just by its absence. So Nintendo of UK sort of tweeted out prior to the direct, sort of a teaser of an Animal Crossing Splatoon crossover. Right. So a lot of people speculated that this could be Animal Crossing characters coming to Splatoon. Right.
Be very interesting. Yeah.
But apparently this was maybe sort of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, which is sort of the mobile game that has, microtransactions all over it. And before everyone goes crazy, that's what mobile games are. It's a free-to-play game with sort of transactions. So maybe this is more of Splatoon coming to, like clothes, maybe the Inklings or, Splat Guns or whatever. Coming to the mobile game as far as microtransactions go, where you can buy them, compared to Animal Crossing actually coming to Splatoon 2, the actual console game.
Right. I would say I would lean more towards the latter because it's very easy to make some new textures and skins and like items for a mobile game and make more money off of it, right? Because like, hey, you can buy all this cool new stuff for $1.99 or 99 cents, and people will eat it up because. Splatoon's a great property, and people love Animal Crossing. I think there's probably some crossover there. I would say that it would be pretty cool to play as the villager running around in Splatoon land. But yeah, I don't know.
Something. All right. Something that may be in not maybe next year's direct, but the year after. Maybe 2020 direct. All right. E3 direct. Wolfenstein 3. Maybe. So Pete Hines did an interview recently, and he said that, they asked him about, will there maybe be a Wolfenstein 3 because maybe Wolfenstein 2 didn't sell that well. And he said, well, Wolfenstein 2 sort of sold as well as they thought it would. And he said, absolutely, we're making a Wolfenstein 3 to finish off the story.
So this will be another trilogy, I guess, right?
This will be another trilogy.
Right.
I would say Wolfenstein 2 came out in 2017 and came out in 2018 in the Switch. So I think it's due for a 2020, holiday 2020, maybe early 2021.
Yeah, I think that kind of sounds about right. Considering also they have the Wolfenstein Youngblood, which they debuted or they teased at.
It's coming out in 2019.
Last E3, right? Just coming out 2019. It's a standalone thing. You play as his daughters, I think, or something.
Yeah,
right.
No, it's a standalone DLC.
Right. So I mean, they kind of have that coming out. I would say, I think you're right. Earliest Christmas 2020.
Yeah, and this could be next gen too. Next gen. This could be a crossover. Next gen.
Could be.
This gen, right?
Could be.
Definitely, I will buy it for the Switch though. If I had to.
if they have it coming, yeah.
I'd buy it for the Switch. All right, let's talk about. We just got to talk about microtransactions, right? And we know in certain countries microtransactions are outlawed, like in Belgium.
Oh
right?
Yeah, specifically.
And we talked about 2K begging the player base to write to the Belgian government to say, hey, we all want to pay for that $50 haircut and tattoo in Jordan.
Yeah, right. Why are you denying us the ability to spend money on something that we love? I'm like, get out of here.
But you know what? It looks like EA is going rogue. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, right.
We're already explicit, so screw it. They don't give a shit. They kept all the loot boxes in their FIFA game. Right?
Because they're like, you know what? We're probably gonna make more money than the fines are gonna be, right? But there's also jail time.
Yes, they are under EA is now under criminal investigation in Belgium because they left all loot boxes in their FIFA game. Now, who goes to jail? Is it the CEO or is it the person who runs EA in that country? I don't know. How does that work? Who do you put in jail?
I don't know either. Like you work in there, you work in the law field and whatnot, and
in New York.
I mean, you're also baffled by this. I certainly have no clue. Someone's going to pay though, right? Because we definitely talked about
fine. The fine is nothing. Like you said, they're going to make they make hundreds of millions of dollars on microtransactions in their game. So the fine itself of a couple of million. A couple of 100,000, maybe a million. I forgot what it was. Is meaningless. But jail time. Who's going to jail? It's
right. Someone's gonna take the hit for that. If they end up getting convicted and kind of whatever else.
The balls on EA to do this. Right?
I know. And Belgium's whole reasoning for all of this, just to kind of recap, is loot boxes are a game of chance and whatnot. They kind of prey on people's addictive personalities and whatnot, and especially like for kids, which they're kind of targeting here, is like, oh hey, it's only a couple bucks to open this thing, and it kind of lights up and makes noises and whatever, and it triggers something in your brain, and you're like, this is fantastic, what did I get? And you get nothing. Usually you get the bottom of the barrel basic bronze player cards, right? You never get Messi. You never get Lionel Messi, and that's the card everybody wants.
Well, you know what? And their argument is, in gambling, real gambling, when you go to the casino, you have a chance to make nothing, and at least here you get something.
Sure, but you need to be over 18. You need to be 18 or older to end up gambling, right? Or 21 and over, I think, to go gambling, in the U.S. at least. So that's different. Like you can't set foot inside a casino, put down some money, win some money, and walk out with that money. They will take that money and possibly put you in cuffs.
The balls on EA to do this.
I know.
don't.
I
They just
know.
want Rogan. I don't care what you say. We're gonna put it
Right?
out, and we're gonna make $100 million, $200 million, or $1 trillion, and nothing you could do to stop us. We have, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. They have lawyers that can fight this and prolong this forever.
Oh, sure.
Right?
They could stall it out like to the end of time for sure.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, but this just before you go, but this
No.
this is something that's like, this is going to set a precedent, right? Because
whatever the outcome of this is, yeah.
because if they pretty much let them do this, right? Every other company is going to say we're going to roll the dice and put it out put it out with microtransactions too.
Are they saying that, hey, you guys let loot boxes, you guys let the loot box mechanic be available in Belgium when you play the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's what that is, that's pretty cut and dry. How do you pin it on like, oh, it was a programming error, we didn't know? It's like, well, that's the law. You should have made sure that your code was good, right? I don't know how else that can like go down. I don't think they can. I don't think EA can get out of this.
Just like in America, this is all over the world. The wheels of justice turn slow, my friend.
Right. Sure. Well, let me ask you this. This is actually what I was going to ask you. Like, who besides EA would you think would have the balls big enough to like say, you know what, F you, Belgium? Right? Ubisoft, sure. Activision, sure.
So I think they would all say, screw that. We're putting loot boxes in,
right? And those are some of the biggest AAA publishers. Like,
and they have the clout. They have the lawyers. They have the money to prolong this.
100%. Yeah.
So, anyway, we talked about Spider-Man earlier. I gave it a game of grief. I brought it back. I was trying not to. I was trying not to make it a grief, but you know what? I was convinced it's a grief. I made it a grief.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had a game of grief in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man is now getting. I mean, this seems to be the new trend, right? This is the second game so far. God of War had it, but now Spider-Man has it. New game plus mode, where you can make the game a little bit difficult, a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging. This is coming to Spider-Man. I'm done. I gotta be honest. New Game Plus came to God of War. I'm done. I beat it. I'm over. I got the story. Right. I play games for the story, not so much per se for the challenge. Even though I like a good challenge, I never pulled a Dave Fortino and played on super ultra mega hard. I always play it on easy or normal so I can get through it because I don't have that much time to play games as it is. Right. So this is good for people who want, more of a challenge on when they play Spider-Man. I just don't have the type of time. I'm on to the next game already. Tomb Raider.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to my days of platining games, unless they're Telltale games, are over. So I don't know. I guess again, when Dave finally decides to buy Spider-Man, you can play the New Game Plus mode and take you 4 years to beat it.
Yeah, right. That is not going to happen again.
But I still love Spider-Man, and we're going to talk about giving game scores later at the end of the show. But if I had to give Spider-Man a score, I definitely would give it a 9.5.
Solid. Can't get much better than that.
But not everybody likes Spider-Man, the game. There was a Deadspin article, review, where the reviewer pretty much said that's I can't even say with a straight face because he pretty much said they turned Spider-Man into a cop and it sucks.
Right. Specifically saying that, Spider-Man is kind of glorifying, police abuse and an oppressive government and whatnot as like he's turning into the law or the man in this case, right? It's very interesting. For those of you who don't know, Deadspin is part of the. Well, they're like part of a larger network. They're all very left leaning and whatnot. I usually like a lot of the stuff that comes out of those websites, camps like IO9 and Japloknik, I think, and Jezebel and whatever else. Gizmodo is part of that. Kotaku is part of that. Lifehacker is part of that. But I think they got it wrong. I think they got it. And like firsthand, right? Like maybe you can talk a little bit about what they're saying and what actually does happen in the game.
Well, he's talking about he's sort of like he's a cop. He helps the cops along. Well, first of all, if you want to talk about like there was a I forgot what series of comics this was with Superman in the DC universe where Superman became a sort of a government weapon.
Really?
Yeah, and it was one of the anime cartoons too, where it was like Superman versus Batman, because Batman, Superman worked for the government, and Batman went rogue, and Batman sort of died, quote unquote, spoilers for the anime movie that came out like 5 years ago. He didn't really die; he faked his death. And Superman worked for the government. He pretty much did whatever the president told him to do. God forbid if Trump had a Superman. Oh my God. Now that I can understand. That would make sense where he is a tool for the government to do whatever the government says to do, no matter, if it's right or wrong. Well, obviously mass murder Superman probably wouldn't do that. But Spider-Man does not work for the cops. They did not turn him into a cop. He in the article he talks about him helping the cops.
Right.
He helping one cop who was asking Spider-Man to do things in secret of the precinct. The woman is not. She's going rogue, saying, Spider-Man, this is something that we can't get into. We can't because we don't have a warrant, or we can't find him, or we can't do this. I need your help. Not the cops need your help. I need your help. And in the middle of the game, Spider-Man's an outlaw. He's public enemy number one. The cops are looking for him. I went from, and this is slight spoilery.
That's all right. All right.
You go from
definitely prefaced it.
You go from fighting the bad guys, right, and then sort of in the middle of the game, you're fighting the bad guys and you're fighting the cops because you're public enemy number one. They're looking for you, right? Every time they see you, they start shooting you, and then you stop a shootout, and both of them are shooting you. So he is not helping the cops. He is not a tool for the cops. He doesn't. He's not fighting the cops. Until he's sort of public enemy number one. Not to mention, we're trying to come together as a society because we're so divided, and I don't want to get too political on this anyway, but when he does help the cops, I haven't done every side mission. Okay. I haven't done, so I can't speak for the whole game as a whole. I can speak for the main game. I can't speak for the whole game, but I've done certain side missions where I'm helping the cops take down a drug bust. Is that so wrong that he's helping the cops take down a drug bust? Are you kidding me?
Right. Yeah,
and by the way, those are the easiest side missions, by the way.
Right. And I'll say this too, not to besmirch Spider-Man in any way, and I'm also speculating, but I'm pretty sure that all of these villains and whatnot, there's no shades of gray, right? The villain is the villain, right? They're doing obviously heinous things for whatever reason. It's not like the Sandman is going out to like rob banks to get money to feed his family or whatnot, right? It's just kind of like.
Well, I think he's also referring to somewhere in the middle of the game where, again, I am an outlaw, and that one cop doesn't see me as an outlaw, and she's like, I know you're innocent, sort of, right? And I need your help. And all the supervillains are attacking the police stations.
Right.
And Spider-Man needs to help the police to, stop the attacks on the police stations because his one cop friend asked him to.
Right.
It's like, and he's looking for the supervillains. Guess what? If the supervillains are attacking the police station and he is looking for them, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to stop the bad guys from hurting the police officers.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, they're people too. I mean, Jesus, cops are humans. Whether they're bad or good is I think dependent on the individual. Just because you're a cop doesn't mean you're bad by any means, right?
Listen,
we can't just start painting those broad strokes.
I'm a black man, and I'm not. I don't want to go. I'm not going too far right, too far left. I'm just saying, not all cops are bad. People who are far left need to realize all cops aren't bad. and
Right.
aren't abusive, and
Right.
people are far right need to realize, there are some bad cops.
Uh-huh.
There really are.
Uh-huh.
There are some cops who shouldn't be cops.
There's some effed up cops. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
For sure.
we need to come together
Mhm.
as a society. So
Mhm.
I don't want to get too political. But one of my favorite games that I was late to the party. I didn't play it on Xbox 360. I played it on Xbox One, backwards compat. Thank you, Phil Spencer. Is Alan Wake. Now,
yeah.
I didn't beat it. I should go back and beat it. I haven't beat it because other things came out. I actually started playing Alan Wake backwards compat sort of in the holiday season, which is a bad time to start like an old game, right?
Mhm.
Because it's gonna get lost when Call of Duty comes out and all the other and all Battlefield and all that stuff.
Right.
So I do need to go back and finish that. I would like to see a sequel. I really liked it. Would like to see a sequel. They stopped the sequel of Alan Wake 2 to focus all the efforts on Quantum Break, which hey, listen, if you ask me, I really love that game, but it didn't do as well as they thought it would or wanted it to with the TV integration and stuff.
Mhm.
But instead of getting a sequel to Alan Wake, we're going to get an Alan Wake TV show. And the creator of Alan Wake, Sam Lake, will be the executive producer.
Uh-huh. This is very interesting. This is kind of out of left field, Like Alan Wake isn't necessarily, they just have the one Alan Wake game, right? It's not really a franchise.
I know, but I think it was critically acclaimed. It had a little cult following.
Sure,
People
sure. And
like the story, like the mechanic of the flashlight, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It could be interesting. I'm not gonna necessarily hold out hope for this. I'll watch an episode or whatever just to kind of see how it plays. If it's good, it's good. If it's good, I'll watch it for sure.
Well, I mean, it doesn't even. I mean, they're still. It's super early. They're still shopping the show around. I can see this as a Netflix or Hulu special. Problem is going with Netflix or Hulu. You need to be an instant hit because they have so many different shows, so many programming. You can get lost in translate. You can just get lost in the shuffle, and because you can get lost in the shuffle. They will can you after 1 or 2 seasons. So you need to be an instant hit for them.
Right. There's so much competition out there, They're not just going to keep throwing money at you if you're doing adequately. Like you need to be on top. For sure.
So all right, let's end with this. Lastly, Polygon has updated their review program and it looks like they're going to say farewell to review scores.
This This is definitely a story that you put on there because I know how much you hate numbers.
I just hate review scores. It's like that's such an arbitrary number. It's like who are you to say this game is a 6 when everyone loves it? Everyone thinks it's a 9, but you, the critic, thinks it's a 6. But it sells like gangbusters. It's just like movies, right? Like this movie doesn't win, an Oscar for best movie. It doesn't even get nominated. But it's a blockbuster hit. Everyone loved it. All right. If everyone loved it, this maybe should be the best movie of the year. Everyone loved it.
Well, yeah, I think
Me
that's
personally.
I don't think that's the best example because like something like Fast and Furious, it doesn't have a good plot, but they're super entertaining. I will see one of those movies any day, right? But they're just like popcorn flicks, I hear what you're saying, like. That's why, like, if I see a 6, I'm going to figure out why they gave it a 6, right? Or if it's a 2, I really want to read it because that's got to be awful, If someone's giving it a 2 out of 10, like, it's got to be bad.
Well, if something is, like, below 6, like, like, if it's like 4 or 5 or lower, it's probably really bad. It's probably really bad.
Right.
But something that's a 6 could easily be an 8 to someone else.
I guess like the crux of it is they don't kind of want to be beholden to the number. It's more than the number. It's the review itself. And there's a lot of nuance in there, right? Just because it's an 8, just because they gave that game an 8 doesn't mean that And when they give an 8 to another game, that it's the same. Like maybe they give an 8 to Call of Duty because it's still by the numbers and whatever, but the mechanics are good and the graphics are good and the sound is good. It doesn't really do anything new, right? Maybe they give an 8 to a game that's like something like Katamari Damacy, right, which has horrible graphics, but the concept is great and it's out of left field and whatever. And that's a game that's got like cult status right now and whatnot, and got pretty good scores across the board. I don't think anyone gave it a 9 or a 10, honestly, if I remember like correctly. But that game is great, and I will pick up and play that game at any point in time, right? And that's where the review really comes into play. Like it's a number is really not going to do that game justice. So I get what they're saying. I get what they're saying here.
But how's this going to work as other outlets start to do the same thing with Metacritic and OpenCritic, who tally up all the review scores, right, and give it one solid average review. Like, how is that going to work, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know this for a fact, but just by listening to different podcasts and people in the industry, like certain publishers, certain developers have like things in a contract where if they hit a certain review score or a Metacritic score, they get X amount of money, right? How's that going to work when there are no scores?
Well, I mean, maybe it'll work like how kind of Rotten Tomatoes does it, where they kind of analyze the review and it's either positive or negative, right? And they make a percentage based out of the positive or negative reviews, right? So it's like how many positive out of how many total top critic reviews, right? And then like that's how they give their score. You
can have 5 major positive reviews and like 10 minor negative reviews, right? Like, yeah. How does that work?
Well, I mean, then you'd get what? So there's like 15 reviews total, right? I guess 66% of those are bad. So then it kind of.
I'm just saying, in one review like Polygon, they're not going to give a score, and they give like 10 minor gripes and 5 major positives.
Well, I mean, again, that's where you kind of have to get subjective. Like, it's either going to be, in general, a positive review or in general a negative review, right? So I think if everybody kills the scale, right, then it's just kind of thumbs up, thumbs down, right? It's like a Cisco Libre type situation, and then you'll get a rating based on the amount of general positive reviews, right? Because you can't have overly positive and then neutral, because then you get back into the score again, right? Then it's out of 5. Is it great, good, okay, bad, or really bad? It's tough. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're not going to do that. I don't know.
Well, I never get into scores. I don't really care about the scores. I care about the review, and you want
to know all the little details, right?
I want to know all the details. Not to mention, I trust like certain reviewers. I know like this is like their type of game. Like if you're really into fighting games or if you're really into RPGs, I'm going to trust their sort of opinion on the game because that's what they like.
Right.
Like, if you have an RPG that's out like Octopath Traveler, I don't think you need to listen to my review.
Unless you give it a glowing review, you're like hell yeah in this game. Then
Yeah, then it was like, listen, I don't even like RPGs, and I like this game.
I love this game, right. But like, I could, right. I mean, you can almost guarantee that you're probably not going to be so hot on the game. Not that it's a bad game; it's just not your game.
Yeah, if it's a Final Fantasy game that's out, I think you need to listen to Dave's review.
Right. And if it's bad, you really got to listen to my review and figure out why.
Yeah. So, review score is not my jam. Always read the review and make your own opinion.
Interesting. I think we can get out on that. Actually, that was a nice. I think it was a nice little way to end the show there. And that's episode 132 in the books, folks. We've been through a lot. It was a jam-packed episode, more so than we thought. A lot of news going on. So I just want to make a quick announcement that I personally will be in Germany soon. So next weekend will be a regular show. The week after, we're going to do a special show. I believe we're going to kind of break down the best gaming generation, right? And kind of go through and give our personal ratings on them. Do a little top 3 type thing. So look for that. And then the week after that, we should be back to our regularly scheduled program with the news, and I can tell you all about my Germany trip and all the cool video game shops that I went to, because you better believe that's going to happen. And we want to thank everybody for listening to the show and sticking with us and doing all the good stuff that you do. If you want to interact with us, you can do so on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, YouTube, and Vero at Rated G for Gamers. You can always email us at info@ratedgforgamers.com. And please rate and review us on iTunes. That does a lot for us, and we appreciate all that. So please listen, subscribe, and as always,
keep gaming.